Check this out. Who would have thought? Deep in that barren mountain wilderness, a fallen giant oak tree became the starting point for a man to restart his life. That day wild boars came crashing in again. They tore apart the little shack he had built at the edge of the woods. That night he sat by the fire, looking at that oak log lying on the ground, thinking if he could build a shelter under it, he wouldn't have to worry about those animals anymore. Other people would just laugh at the idea, but he actually got to work. He started with that area of fallen logs. Thick bark, rotting leaves and mud, mixed into a pungent smell, but he cleaned it up bit by bit, using a shovel to scrape the ground flat, measuring the size with sticks. The whole process was steady and unhurried. The oak tree had deep roots. He left a few of them as natural supports. That way even strong winds wouldn't knock it down. After the site was cleared, he started digging the foundation next to it, laying the base with stone slabs, layer after layer, each piece hammered repeatedly until it fit perfectly against the ground. After finishing that job, he patted his lower back and said with a smile, if this house ever collapses, then it must be the mountain god's will. With the foundation done, he started building the stone walls. He carried rocks from the river one by one. Some were round, some were flat. He used mud as mortar, putting the stones together into an arched wall. With each new layer, the mud on his hands got thicker and the stones got heavier, but he didn't complain at all. On the inside of the wall, he specially left a spot for a fireplace, thinking that when it got cold he could warm up by the fire, and it would also help keep animals away. When the wall was almost finished at the top, he paused and looked inside. His eyes were full of contentment. The wall was still wet, so he went to cut bamboo, splitting the fresh bamboo, smoothing it and scraping it clean, weaving each piece into bamboo mats. He tied those mats onto wooden frames, making light yet sturdy wall panels. Those woven grid patterns let a little sunlight through from inside, like patterns that were meant to belong to this forest. After the bamboo panels were ready, he started working on the roof. Thick wooden strips as beams, bamboo mats as the surface, then covering it with a thick layer of mud to seal the gaps. The flexibility of the bamboo made the roof naturally curve, so rainwater would slide right off. The branches of the oak tree stretched right over the roof. He let them be a natural cover. The hardest part was the fireplace. He picked the strongest stones, laying them ring by ring to form a round fire opening, using wooden discs arranged like flower petals around the outside. The fireproof mud was smoothed flat, and the chimney flue was dug straight. The chimney was stacked from a few large rocks, with a flat stone on top as a cap. It looked simple, but it could let the smoke out steadily. Once the fire was lit, light and shadows danced inside the fireplace. The warmth mixed with the earthy smell spread through the space. On the floor of the shelter, he laid neat wooden slices, each one smooth and round. He also embedded gray, red, and yellow stones into the wall, in a mix of colors. Behind the house he added a wooden frame to stack firewood, and to take a break on. To keep wild boars from getting in, he wove a fence from branches, surrounding the whole shelter tightly. From a distance it looked like a primitive villa hidden deep in the forest. At night he lit a fire in the shelter for the first time. The firelight shone on the stone walls, bamboo shadows swayed on the roof, the sound of the wind outside, and the grunting of wild boars were all kept far away. He roasted some dried meat he had brought, and talked to himself with a smile. Now no one is going to bother me while I sleep. At that moment his look was like that of a mountain hunter, guarding his own territory. Who would have thought that such a wasteland could become a shelter that stays cool in summer and warm in winter? When neighbors came to see it, they all said, "This isn't just a den to hide from boars. This is a primitive villa." But the guy who did all this wasn't an architect or a craftsman. He was just an ordinary person, relying on solid skills and a bit of stubborn determination. He turned the impossible into something possible. Some people laughed at him. Who bothers with these old rocks and bamboo these days? Just throw up a metal shed and call it done. But he simply said, a metal shed doesn't block the cold. Bamboo walls let the air through, and a fire keeps you warm. I want a place where I can actually live, not a temporary windbreak. After saying that, he kept working. The mud by the fireplace wasn't fully dry yet, so he added a few more layers. The gaps in the bamboo wall were a bit wide, so he reinforced them with wild vines. Every part was done carefully. Even the angle of the door was calculated to block the wind. Others saw it as idle work, but he worked on it like he was building a temple. In the end he even specially laid a few flat stone slabs outside the shelter, making small steps. That was his ritual for coming home. If you have watched the video this far, liking it is a favor. Not liking it is fine too. That saying really hits home. Every stone tamped, every piece of bamboo, every shovel of mud is a life earned through a craftsman's sweat. You have already watched this far. Why not leave a like? Consider it a little encouragement for this old craftsman. In the next episode there will be even more surprising works. See you there.